So the three of us, not only for Tales from the Yawning Portal, but for all Dungeons and Dragons books, the three of us unite together. We call it, we Voltron together. And we, working on the layout, the art, and the text, make sure that everything in the book is hitting its targets. We make sure the game design is what it's supposed to be. We make sure that our storytelling in the book is hitting our story notes. We make sure the layout is communicating the information well, is a pleasure to look at. Kate makes sure that all the art is exactly where it needs to be and that it's associated with the right text that it's supposed to be associated with. So the three of us manage this constellation of different elements and weave them all together into what ends up being each D&D book. And that was true for Tales from the Yawning Portal, just as it is for all of our books.
A lot of my job starts pre-Voltron, because that's when the commissioning of the art happens. That's a few months before we actually start putting everything together. Jeremy and the other editors are working on the text, and I'm working on the art assets. Once the text has been turned over to Emmy, Emmy has finalized her design for the look and feel of each book, because each one is different, kind of follows a theme of the book. So Jeremy's text, she's visuals, I'm art, we put it all together. And then it's smushing it all in to fit, or fluffing it to fit, or making, like we'll add pickup art sometimes to fluff something out. Jeremy will cut words to shrink something down for us so that things are paced in the right manner. That's the beauty of the Voltron. And then Emmy makes it all look good on the page so that everything looks like, oh, we planned it this way from the beginning, where really we're making decisions minute by minute. I mean, we do a lot of planning prior, but when we're in those last phases, it's well, this would look a lot better if we could do this, or what if we moved da-da-da. And then she starts moving things around, and she'll find a new hole or have something that's overset, and we'll shrink something down, puff something up, art and words. As the art director, at the very beginning of a project, well, certainly not the very, very beginning, but a few months before we actually start working on the layout of the book itself, I have to commission the art. So I contact a bunch of artists who I think would be appropriate for whatever the theme of the book is and the kind of content that we're looking for. We get art orders from the writers, and then I commission them out to the artists and work with them through sketch and final art to get a piece of art that we're satisfied with. And with something like this, there's a lot of attention to detail because these are adventures that people know and love. So the content of the image is supporting the story in a way that's more strong than when it's just, you know, here's a bunch of monsters, and they can be doing a lot of different things, but this story has these stories have a specific route to them, and there are things that have to be in an image or have to be taken out of an image if an artist takes too much leeway with it.
Too many liberties.
Yeah.
What's your concept?
Yeah.
Near the end, like Kate said, it's not as we would love to say everything's planned that way. It's not. And there are all these challenges that come in from the outside and within, between us, that Jeremy's like, I've got this feedback and it needs to be added here. And we're like, oh my goodness, it's gonna move everything. You know, everybody get up from the chair and move over. Right. So that's where, you know, Jeremy's knowledge and his amazing vacuuming and cutting and fluffing skills come in to be like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, put this in, I'm gonna take this out, and it's still gonna fit. And then, you know, Kate will make sure that everything is visually still working good. It's that Voltroning near the end that things will always shift, things will always move, and everybody's still on it. Because there's only three of us, which means more work, but it also means closer communication as well.
Yeah, because often as we're finishing a book like Tales from the Yawning Portal, the three of us will be gathered around Emmy's desk, and Emmy will be the hands, and you know, Kate will say, well, I'd like to move this painting over here, and I'm like, okay, and we can remove this sentence to make room for it, and Emmy will then, all right, and I'm now going to put in this splotch behind the painting to really make the page pop. And we'll do that over and over and over again, sometimes hundreds of times for a particular book, with each of us often just like minute by minute adjusting how a particular page looks. And there have even been times where the content of the book itself has changed in some substantive way in this process, because we'll be looking at it and I'm like, well, this isn't really, it's not working visually, I'm not super satisfied with the text on the page, and we might, through a series of snips, moving things around, I might write a few new lines of text, Kate might go find an old piece of pickup art for us to use that's just right for the purpose, and then Emmy doing some beautiful layout work in the process, we might end up with a page we never imagined was even going to be in the book.
Or a whole section.
Yeah, or a whole section. Yeah, actually, in Tales from the Yawning Portal, the creature appendix in it, because there's an appendix of monster stat blocks at the back of the book, and therefore all 7 of the adventures that appear in that book. That appendix, when we started, was nothing like the one in the final book, because we had an appendix that was kind of like this shambling mess, and it's like, and we looked at it and we're like, oh boy, you need a makeover. And so we really heavily redid that, both visually.
Spackle.
Yeah. Kate found some art for us to use. Emmy changed the whole layout. I ended up redeveloping a number of the stat blocks. So almost every aspect of that section changed in the final few weeks of the book. And that often happens with us, where it's not until we see all the elements coming together, when the 3 of us put our heads together, that we start seeing like, whew, this thing we planned 6 months ago, now that it's all together, this is not working. And the beauty of our work relationship and that trust that you mentioned, Emmy, is we can change fast because we understand each other's perspectives so well, respect each other's areas of expertise, and so each of us brings that expertise, and we sometimes, the amount we change and the way it turns out, after it, often I look back and I'm just like, whew, how did we do that? I've written sometimes close to entire pages in the final weeks on one of our D&D books. So there, I can point to sections, like there are actually a number of places in Cursive Strahd where half or more of a page exists in Cursive Strahd because we needed to fill it, and I just went back to my book, back to my desk. It's like, all right, this is now in Cursive Strahd.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that book more than any other.
Yeah.
In the tail end, I just wrote a bunch.
You brought things from your home game into the game.
Exactly.
Into the adventure itself.
Yeah.
So.
But even in Tales from the Yawning Portal, there was a page where we didn't like how it was laying out, so I wrote about a quarter of a page to fill it up. So it can definitely be high pressure, but thankfully I have the 2 of them to rely on, and so it's a give and take, where if let's say we have space we want to fill, Kate might be able to fill some of it with a new piece of art. Emmy might provide part of the solution with the layout, and then I might bring the 3rd piece of the solution with the text. So rarely is it just one of us when we're constructing the book needs to provide the full solution, unless it's a solution that must come only from one of our areas of expertise. Like if the only way to solve this is a new piece of art, well then we rely on Kate to bring that solution, or the only solution is layout, Emmy's going to do it.
Yeah, there are times that we need art, and that's where Richard and Sean come in, Richard Witters and Sean Wood, because they can always pull through with something to add in. If I can't find a piece of pickup art that fits in a place that it must be an art solution, they've come through with things like that too. There are other appendages to Voltron as well.
Yeah. We bring others in occasionally.
Yeah.
So we have core tenets in our game design and storytelling. Kate oversees the commissioning of the art for all of our books. Emmy oversees the layout of all of our books. And so in addition to having sort of principles we use for book after book after book, the other key, and this is very unusual for 5th edition compared to other editions of the game, is the three of us have overseen the creation of every single book for this edition. Every book has had Emmy's hands on it, Kate's hands on it, and my hands on it. And that's actually never been the case, at least in the editions that were created by Wizards of the Coast until now, where you would have the same art director on every one, the same layout artist on every one, the same editor overseeing the text of the book. And in addition to that, we were the three, along with Bree Heiss, who established all of the layout that you see in 5th edition. So that's the other thing. The people who are making the books are the same people who created all the design elements in the first place. So really, part of it is it's a continuity of personnel. It's us.
Thanks for watching this video. I'm Todd Kenrick, and this is Dungeon Life. It's a brand new video series dedicated to Dungeons & Dragons. So we'll have interviews with D&D creators, community members, community spotlights. We're going to have reviews of new D&D products, and also tabletop D&D live streams as well. And we really appreciate everyone who sent us messages supporting these videos, and we're going to try to keep on making those videos. We're going to be using Patreon. People that support Dungeon Life on Patreon get early access to videos. They'll get transcripts of the full video interviews, and they'll also get the full video interviews as well to be able to watch all of that content. We'll also have some polls determining the direction of the videos that we're creating, and we'll also have live streams showing everybody how we make Dungeon Life. We also have a lot of stretch goals concerning live streams and improving the quality of our videos. So Patreon is a really great way for us to keep this web series going. Thanks for watching these videos. Thanks for supporting us and sending us such great messages. We really could not do this without the Dungeons & Dragons community, so we really appreciate you guys.